All right, so before I get into what I actually want to talk about in today's recording, I just want to take a second to acknowledge something. The last video I put out was honestly a pretty personal one. I talked about heartbreak and relationships and love, all of that, and that's not always the easiest stuff just to put out there for everyone to see. But I did it because I felt honest, and honestly, that's like the only reason I ever do any of this. I actually remember sitting there listening to that recording back before I uploaded it, and I just thought to myself, like, damn, like this is probably one of the most vulnerable pieces of recording I've ever put out. Because most of what I put out, yeah, it's me talking from personal experience. It's always genuine, but it tends to live in that general like self-improvement, self-development space, if that makes sense. Like I talk a lot about, your mindset and habits and how to move better through life, how to live more presently, and that kind of thing, which still comes from a very real place, but there's a certain distance to it, right? Like, whereas the last recording I made, there was no distance. It was just me talking about some of the most human stuff there is, right? Like heartbreak, love, relationships, the kind of stuff that everyone goes through, but not everyone wants to talk about out loud. So pressing upload on that one actually took a second for me. And after uploading that video, I got a bunch of DMs. And I just want to say, like, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Like, it really did mean a lot to me that people took the time to reach out and share what they were going through, or just let me know that something I said connected or resonated with them in a specific way. That stuff, like, really genuinely does not go unnoticed. So if you are one of those people, thank you, seriously. It means more than you know. And I just want to say more broadly, everything that I put out, all of these videos and these recordings, like all of it, it's all coming from the heart. And I'm not sitting here like scripting and structuring like every single thing that I'm saying. Obviously, I have some structure to it, just to keep my mind, my brain focused, because if I didn't, I would go on way too many tangents. But yeah, I'm just sharing like what I'm actually going through, what I'm actually thinking about, what's actually been moving the needle for me in my own life. So if I say anything ever in these recordings that resonates with you, genuinely reach out. And I mean that. I'd love to actually talk about this kind of stuff. That's kind of the whole point for me. I'm not just putting stuff out into the void. It's actually connecting with people over things that matter. That's why I'm, making these recordings. So anyways, with that being said, now let's actually get into what I want to talk about in today's recording. So I want to talk about something that's genuinely changed the way that I move through life. And I know that sounds like the intro to every self-help or self-improvement video ever made, but bear with me, because I'm not here to tell you I have everything figured out, or that I have some like revolutionary 5-step system to becoming, your best self. However, I've noticed something this year that's been like way too apparent and way too real for me not to talk about. And honestly, a big part of why I wanted to make this is because I don't see a lot of people like online, like people around like my age, talk about this stuff in a way that feels like real and genuine, not in like a perfect like 10-step morning routine, glamorized, performative way, not in a I meditate for 4 hours every morning at 4 a.m. kind of way, just in a regular, honest, this is what I've been going through kind of way. So that's what this is. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. Okay, so let me start by being completely transparent. For a very long time, the message I was absorbing through social media, through podcasts, through YouTube, through pretty much every corner of the internet was some version of the same thing, which is hustle harder, grind harder, move faster, have more urgency. If you are not grinding, if you are not hustling 24/7, you are falling behind. And look, I'm not going to sit here and trash that advice entirely, because I genuinely followed it and it genuinely worked to a degree. I got things done. I hit certain goals and I checked certain boxes that I wanted to check off. But the thing that nobody really talks about is the part that came after, because after a while, I started feeling this kind of low grade exhaustion and burnout that I couldn't really shake. Like I'd be, lying in bed at night, having done a full day of productive things, feeling like I got a lot done. And instead of feeling good and proud of myself and just like good about what I had just done or the day I just had, I felt flat and empty almost. And I think I know why. And this has taken some time for me to sit with and think about and reflect on. But when you are full hustle mode, when you're in that like full grind mentality, hustle culture, like you're embodying that hustle culture mentality, your whole life starts to feel like a checklist. You wake up, check. Gym, check. Work, check. Eat, check. Sleep, check. And you wake up the next day and you do it again. And at some point I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what is this? Because this doesn't feel like living. It just feels like I'm getting through the days to get to some future version of my life that I think will finally make me feel okay. And that's when something kind of clicked for me. I started to realize I've been treating the present moment as a means to an end. Like the life I was actually living right now, the one that was in front of me, the one that I was experiencing right now today was just the stepping stone to get somewhere else. And that somewhere else was always in the future. It was always just out of reach. And when you live like that, you're basically telling yourself that right now isn't good enough. And, that where you are right now isn't worth being fully present for. And that's a rough way to live, man. Like, I do not recommend it. And I felt like I was living this way for a long time. And, I've been making content about living in the present moment for a while. And what I'm talking about right now is something that I experienced a lot throughout the last year. I was making content all about living presently and embodying presence, but I still slipped into thinking that my life was a checklist and I was still treating the present moment as a means to an end, because I feel like we're just conditioned to, in the day and age that we live in. It's hard sometimes to live in the present moment. It's hard to sometimes practice what you preach. It's hard to embody presence when, your whole world around you is telling you that you need to like live a different way, if that makes sense. Hustle harder, grind harder, you need to have more urgency, etc., etc. So heading into 2026, I made a decision, and it kind of felt counterintuitive at first, honestly, but I decided that my number one goal this year above everything else was to be more present, to live in the moment, to live more in the moment. And now when I say that, I want to be clear about what I don't mean. I don't mean I threw all my goals out the window and became like a monk. I still have things I want to build. I still have things I want to achieve. I still have so much drive and desire to get somewhere, if that makes sense. Like I still have a ton of ambition and a vision for like what I see myself building and creating. That desire, that drive, I should say, did not go anywhere. But I made a commitment to myself that those goals would never come at the expense of being here, of being fully here, fully in the present moment for my actual life as it's happening. And honestly, it's more about like my mindset and the energy that I approach my goals and the things that I'm working toward with. And I genuinely believe that distinction matters, because there's a difference between having goals and being consumed by them. There's a difference between working towards something and using the future as a way to escape the present. And a good analogy I think that I've been thinking about recently is just imagine you are having a meal with someone, or you're in conversation with someone that you really care about. Maybe it's a friend or a family member, whoever. And the whole time you're at that dinner, let's say, or you're in that conversation with them, you're mentally somewhere else. You're thinking about tomorrow's meeting, or the text you need to send, or the thing you should have done differently last week. You're physically there with them, right? But you're not really there. And when you leave that dinner, or you leave that meal, or you leave that conversation, you don't actually feel like you spent time with that person. You just passed time near them. And that's what I've feel like for a lot of last year I was doing. And I've been thinking about this and I was like, okay, something definitely needs to change. So I made a video in December of last year and I was like, okay, I'm going to approach life differently in 2026 and I'm going to make it my main primary focus, my main intention to live more in the moment. Like that is my primary goal in 2026. I'm going to make presence my primary goal. I'm still going to have other goals, but they are secondary to living more in the moment. And I made a video talking about this philosophy. You can find it on my page. I'll try linking it somewhere on screen. If you search Presence of Being, you'll be able to find it. I think that video is called Why I'm Choosing a Quieter, More Present Life in 2026. It's probably one of my favorite videos I've ever made. So now that we are in April, the end of April, spring is here, summer is approaching, I actually want to talk about what's been different since making this my primary focus or my primary intention this year, because I don't want this to be like some like philosophical just like ramble. I actually want to give you like real tangible stuff that I've noticed. And the first thing is honestly kind of simple, but I think it's very profound. I genuinely wake up feeling very differently than I used to. Like before, I'd open up my eyes in the morning and almost immediately feel this like low level urgency, this like go energy before I had like even like gotten up and like taken a sip of water. Like my brain would just immediately start listing things that I had to do and that I had to accomplish, what I needed to do that day, what I didn't finish yesterday, what I'm worried about. And I'd start the day already in this kind of like frantic headspace. And now, since making presence truly like my number one priority this year, I wake up feeling way more calm, like genuinely like real calmness. And that is not me being dramatic. It's a real shift that I felt. I still have plenty to do most days. There's still things I need to accomplish and things I still feel like I need to do, but there's this quiet confidence now that everything that needs to get done will get done. I don't need to operate from a place of panic to be productive. And weirdly enough, this is the part that surprised me the most. I'm actually way more productive now than I was when I was in that like full hustle mode. When you are calm and focused, you move more efficiently. There's a great quote I read somewhere, and the quote says, "Slow is smooth and smooth is fast." My thoughts are clear, and I think the quality of my work has increased as well. Frantic energy is not actually the same thing as effective energy, and I just thought it was for a very long time. And moving on to the second thing I want to talk about, which is my gratitude for life has increased dramatically as well. And I know gratitude, like that word gets thrown out a lot, and sometimes it sounds kind of hollow when you hear it, but I just want to describe what I actually mean because it's been kind of wild for me personally. But for me, I started to notice things that I never used to notice. And these things that are seemingly insignificant that I would have never noticed before, I am just so grateful for. For example, the birds chirping on my morning walk that I just like am surrounded by. I'm so grateful for those birds. Like the trees, the way the light hits things early in the morning, the flowers that I walk past. Like honestly, the most regular, unremarkable stuff. And I'm not being corny when I tell you, there are moments on these walks where I feel this deep, genuine appreciation for just being alive, for being outside, for being able to walk around and breathe and like experience this morning. And I think that sounds small when you say it out loud, but it doesn't feel small when you're in it. To be honest, it feels like everything. And I think what happened is that when you're constantly living in your head, planning things, you're worrying, you're strategizing everything, you're literally not seeing what's in front of you. Your eyes are open, but you're not really seeing. You may be looking, but you're not seeing. And when you slow down and actually land in the present moment, it's like the world gets a little bit more vivid. It's like you finally got that pair of glasses that you didn't even know you needed. one of the first things that popped into my head as I started embodying like this way of life, really making presence my primary priority this year, my top priority this year, is since experiencing this like heightened level of gratitude for seemingly like insignificant things in my life, my brain automatically went to Eckhart Tolle on New Earth, where he says that gratitude is the foundation for abundance. Like actually appreciating what it is you have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. And I think we tend to believe it's the other way around, that, we'll feel gratitude once we achieve the things that we want. We kind of have this like conditional gratitude mindset where it's like, if things are going well and I get the things that I want, then I'll be grateful. And if things aren't going the way that I planned them to go, then like, what's there to be grateful for? When in reality, there's so much to be grateful for. I wholeheartedly believe that when you cultivate gratitude for what you already have and you start appreciating all the little things that you overlook and all the things that you just like think aren't important, and you start expressing more love and gratitude for these things, like for the ordinary stuff, you start to feel full in a way that achievement alone never really gave me. Like achieving things is great, but like when you feel the fullness of life in the present moment because you're grateful for like everything, like that's true fulfillment. And the third thing that I've noticed in my life since making presence my primary focus this year, it's kind of less poetic but equally important, is how I handle problems and conflict now. Whenever there was an issue, like here's what I used to do, whether it was, something going wrong with like a work-related thing or a misunderstanding with someone I care about, my automatic reaction was to either like get super deep like in my head about it and start to spiral into it mentally, or I'd get like defensive. Like immediately I'd start like ruminating on the issue and focusing more on the issue itself than trying to be like proactive and find a solution. And now my like default response to an issue has completely shifted. When something goes wrong, instead of ruminating or getting like reactive, my brain just sort of goes like, okay, like let's find a solution here. It's this very like subtle, quiet redirect toward figuring out what to do next rather than spinning and spiraling on what went wrong. And in relationships especially, if there's like tension or conflict with someone I care about, if there's an issue and like there needs to be a solution, like my brain doesn't go to, oh, it's like me versus them. And I'm not getting defensive. Like my brain automatically goes to like the default state, I should say, is we may not be on the same page here, but that doesn't mean we're not on the same team. Like we are most definitely on the same team. Let's figure this out together. And it's such a small framing shift, but it changes everything about how the conversation goes. And I think what's underneath all of this is that when you're living in the present moment, when you've surrendered to presence, you are working with reality as it is, not as you wish it was and not as you're afraid it might become. You're just dealing with whatever's actually in front of you, right? Like however it comes about, you're in it and you're experiencing it and you're facing it head on and you've just surrendered. And that is so much easier than fighting with a version of events that only exists in your mind or only exists in your head. Okay, so now let's actually get practical, because I know someone is watching or listening to this thinking this is great, this is all well and nice, but what does it actually look like on a day-to-day basis? That is fair enough. So 2 things that have made the biggest difference for me are very, very simple. When I told myself at the end of last year that I was going to make presence a true priority in my life and it be my primary focus, this is how I actually started implementing presence into my life and making sure that I was staying on top of this, which has then led me to experience these benefits that I just spoke about. So the first thing is meditation. We're talking about 5 to 20 minutes here, like literally whatever you can fit in. The length honestly matters a lot less than the consistency. What it does for me practically is it creates this little window at the start of every single day where I'm just here. There's no agenda. There's no input. It's just sitting and breathing and being, and that is it. And it just sets a tone that follows me through the day in a way that's hard to fully explain until you've tried it. It's like the difference between starting your day from a calm, centered place versus jumping straight into all the noise and all the distraction. Both days might look the same on the outside, but they feel completely different on the inside. So meditation is like a non-negotiable for me. I can promise you that if you start doing it consistently, you will notice the profound positive impact that it will have on your life. There are no rules when it comes to meditation. You don't need to do it for like an hour long every single day to get the benefits. It's a completely personal practice. Just do what works for you. For me, it's sitting quietly every morning for like 5 or 10 minutes just to be, like I said. So that's the first thing, daily meditation. Number 2 is less screen time. Specifically less mindless scrolling, like making sure I'm spending a significant portion throughout my day just like away from a phone, away from my screen. I really didn't fully appreciate like what this does until I actually started doing it consistently. But when you're on your phone, especially like social media scrolling, like you are by definition not here. You're consuming other people's moments and other people's lives instead of living your own life. Like you're looking at highlights from other people's lives instead of actually living your own life. And I honestly think like scrolling social media endlessly, doom scrolling, being on your phone, like it is the world's most effective presence thief. And most of us carry it in our pockets literally everywhere we go. I need to be a lot better at this. I have had periods where I delete social media off my phone because that's where I know I spend most of my time on my phone. And that has helped, but like realistically long term, I'm not going to delete everything off of it and social media off of it. I just have to start being more intentional about it. I have to put it down more. I can't just reach for it out of boredom or habit. Like it has to be something that you do intentionally. But when I commit to doing this and I spend less time on my phone, specifically scrolling social media, it's such a noticeable difference in how present I feel throughout my day. And these two things together, the meditation and the reduced screen time, have basically been what's made all the other stuff possible. They're like the foundation that everything else is built on. So I just want to end with something that I think is the core of all of this, because when I reflect on what's actually changed for me this year, I think it comes down to one shift in how I see time. I used to undervalue the present and overvalue the future. I treated where I was as a temporary inconvenience on the way to where I wanted to be. And the problem with that, beyond just feeling like shit and feeling miserable, is that it never ends. Because when you get to the future you are chasing, it just becomes a new present. And then you start chasing the future. The goalpost always moves. You're always just out of reach of the thing that's supposed to finally make everything feel okay or all right. And I think on some level I knew this intellectually for a very long time, but knowing something and actually living differently because of it are two very different things. What's helped me actually live it, not just know it, is making presence my primary intention, my primary goal. It's not secondary. It's not something that I get to do once I'm done being productive. It's the main thing. Like that's it. Like my goal this year is to be present. I've done all the hustle culture, like grind nonstop. You have no time. You need to get things done ASAP, and you need to like hustle and go and operate with this frantic energy. And like I said, I achieve certain things operating that way, but you just get left feeling like shit, kind of. Like you burn out easily. It creates anxiety. You always feel like you have to be doing something. You have to be productive. And that's just like for me personally, like it wasn't sustainable. I didn't feel good doing that. I genuinely believe that I have been more productive and I have gotten more done operating with this cool, calm, like very collective energy where it's like, I'm in the moment. I'm going to let things flow. I'm going to focus on being here, and I trust that like things are going to work out. Like obviously I'm still going to put in effort. I'm still going to work really hard. I'm still going to put in time, but I'm just here. Like I'm not in my head about it anymore. I'm not thinking about, oh, if I don't do this, then this isn't going to happen, or I need to do this or else this won't happen. Like, I'm just present, and it's just allowed me to operate with this like more whole feeling where it's like, I'm good and I'm going to work and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to put in effort. But like, my main focus is just being in the moment, being here and appreciating the present moment. And, you know, once I really started living this way, you start to come to the realization like, oh, like I don't actually need to wait for my life to start. Like I don't need to wait to get here, or I don't need to wait until I achieve this thing for my life to actually start. Like it's already begun. Life is happening right now. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying I have all this figured out. There are days where I slip back into old patterns. There's days where I'm anxious about the future, or I'm just like caught up in my head. That's going to happen. Like I'm human, we're all human, but I can confidently say that the baseline has shifted, and I feel that in a very real way. And I guess what I want to leave you with is, you don't have to overhaul your life to start living more presently, or to start making presence more of a priority in your life. You don't need to quit your job and go become a monk and meditate in the mountains somewhere. Just start small. Put your phone down more. Sit quietly for 5 or 10 minutes in the morning. Go for a walk without headphones and just notice what's around you. Let the moment you're actually in be enough for a little while. And I promise you it's more than enough. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this recording. I hope something in here landed for you. If it did, let me know. And yeah, thank you again for listening, and I will see you in the next recording very soon.